Hi guys, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. If you're new here, my name is Megan and I teach middle school history and English in Southern California. We are doing school 100% virtually at this time, and it's been 5 weeks since we started school. This year feels really different from last year. I have all of these update videos about how things went last year, in the spring, but starting fresh with a new class and a new group of kids at the beginning of the year just feels really different. So I thought I would do a video today just as a little check-in. So 3 things that are going well, 3 things I like about teaching online, and then 3 things I don't really like about teaching online. So one thing that is really nice about doing this whole virtual learning, virtual teaching thing is that there are some people who are just very good at this and they share all of their best tips. I feel like I got lucky and I had one little good idea. Honestly, I'm not super techie and creative, but occasionally I'll have one good idea and then I get really proud of myself. So I really liked putting the time that I have each class on the little banner for my Google Classrooms, because every day I literally have every class at a different time. Nothing is the same ever. And I put that on Twitter and a lot of people liked it on Twitter, and I had kind of forgotten how useful Twitter is. I tend to spend my time more on Instagram and YouTube, but I was encouraged by the edu Twitter people of the world. So some of the accounts that I have found to be really helpful, just tons of free information, are Amanda Sandoval. She's History Sandoval on Twitter. I'll put their accounts right here since that's impossible to see. I really like Mrs. Byers. She's Mrs. Byers History on Twitter. So many good history people. Esther Park, she's at Mrs. Parkshine. She's an English teacher, ELD teacher too, I think, and she just has really creative, amazing ideas for online engagement. And I also like following Dwayne Reed. He's Teach Mr. Reed, and he just has a lot of really good ideas that he shares on Twitter too. So the online teacher community has really helped a lot. I'm feeling the engagement in my class wane a little bit now that we've been in for 5 weeks, and some of the things that were kind of fun at first have just lost their luster. So I'm definitely looking to my fellow online colleagues to look for some engaging ideas. So I've got a few things that I'm gonna try out next week. But if I didn't have those people to turn to, I think I'd be feeling really defeated right now. I don't know what else to do. I'm trying my best. But it's kind of nice that it doesn't even have to be my best. I can go beyond my best and take other people's best and then incorporate that into my lessons, because we each only have so much time to lesson plan and experiment and play around with things. So if somebody else already did that, I'm totally taking their ideas when they work. The second thing that I am enjoying about online learning, since I am an English teacher, is that their writing becomes really special to me. I know that's kind of weird to say, but right now, when we really can't talk to that many people face to face, we can do this kind of a thing, video, and then we're doing the online teaching and stuff, but it's a little bit hard to create space for everybody on a screen. It's kind of hard to get everybody to talk or to watch everybody's video or whatever. But writing is just such a level platform, I guess. I've assigned a couple of little writing pieces and essays to my students, and normally I really don't enjoy grading, but at this point I love to read my students' writing because that's the best way for me to get to know them. There are a few personalities that really shine through in the online classes, but a lot of the kids they're just a black box in the Zoom call, and they, don't participate all that much during class, but then they wrote these really great essays, and I got to learn a lot about them through their writing. So I think that we're just realizing again how important written word is and how powerful that can be. So I think that's just gonna kind of be my focus for this year. We're just gonna do a lot of writing, probably even more than we did in the past, because I can't really do community circles very easily. We can't do discussions quite as easily, but kids can write and I can read their writing, and just kind of stripping that back to basics a little bit, even as we add in like all of this tech stuff. Really the most powerful thing that I've seen from my students is just their writing in a doc. The third thing that I also really like about teaching online is that students are just comfortable in their own spaces. I'm really fortunate that my district and my school is not like forcing a lot of things upon them. You know, we're not like forcing them to have their cameras on. We're not forcing them to be like in uniform or sitting in a certain place. So I think it's kind of nice for students that they can just be comfortable. I hope that it's taking away from the stress a little bit for some of them. You know, they get a little overwhelmed by changing classes every 42 minutes. That's how it is at my school anyway. And you know, they've got like 4 minutes to go to the bathroom and then like hurry up and get to their next class, and they gotta find all their stuff, and then they realize they forgot their charger for their Chromebook. And I think a lot of that stress is gone. Like they can go to the bathroom whenever they want. They can get a snack whenever they want. They don't lose their things. All of their stuff is there. And for some of them, I would imagine anyway, a lot of the pressures from school are just not happening. No one really sees your whole outfit, so there's, you know, not that kind of pressure. I am really sad that my kids are missing out on so much socialization, but you know, some kids get bullied and some kids are bullies, and there's just not really that opportunity right now. And I kind of wonder like how that's changing things for kids, like kids who are used to like bracing themselves as they come to school because they're used to getting bullied, and then like not having to deal with that anymore. That must be nice. And then those kids who are bullies too, for whatever reason, you know, there's probably something that happened to them that makes them lash out at other people in that way, but like to not be able to put all of their energy into making other kids feel miserable, I wonder how that's changing them. It might get like redirected into social media, but I hope not. Like I really hope that my middle school students, who typically, at least, you know, this is how I was as a middle school student, are like very concerned about what other people think about them and very concerned about how you're perceived at school. And that just takes up like so much mental space. Maybe doing virtual school for a while like alleviates some of that pressure and allows them to focus on other things. I don't know if anybody is like actually studying this, but I would be really interested to find out more about this. Just in general, for some kids, I know that this is actually a less stressful situation for them, and I just want to like acknowledge that and hope that we can like continue that in some way when we go back to school in person. So obviously not everything is amazing, even though there are some upsides. Plus I get to like, you know, wear leggings every day and have my coffee nearby. There's all those good things. But of course, like I do wish that we were back in school safely in person with no chance of spreading a horrible virus to each other. Because one of the things that's really hard is just kind of hard to like gauge emotional responses from students. And so it makes it tougher to like dig into a little bit deeper content. When we're talking about sensitive subjects like 9/11, and we've been discussing this concept of the model minority myth, like those are emotional subjects. And as a teacher, I don't shy away from those things, but I feel like when I'm teaching them, it's really, really important that I'm like paying such close attention to the way that my students are responding emotionally and kind of like adjusting and adding information, adding explanations, allowing time to debrief, time to talk in pairs, time to talk in groups, opportunities to ask more questions. And it's just much, much more difficult to do that in a virtual environment. Like we have breakout rooms, we have ways that students can like, you know, type in their responses or whatever, but it's just not nearly as effective as being there in a room together. And a lot of times in my class, we'll sit in a circle and allow time for every single person to respond, and we're able to see everybody's face. And this is just nothing like that. So it's harder to get into these deeper topics of conversation and just do it in a way that is protecting and looking out for everybody's emotional responses. And so to be honest, it's like given me a little bit of pause, like, I don't know if we can do all of the same things in a virtual classroom that we can do in a real life classroom. Another thing that I'm not loving is that I don't see my students every day. It would just be too overwhelming for them to have all 7 classes in one day, like back to back to back to back to back. So we spread that out for them, which like overall I think is a good thing. But then just in situations where I like post grades, for example, like normally I would do that and then the next day I would see all 200 of my students and I could explain in like 2 minutes, you know, okay, these new grades have been posted, here's what you do if you didn't turn that in, here's how to resolve that, you know, whatever. Now I'm not seeing kids for like maybe 3 more days after that, so I'm just like getting inundated with emails, and I do like post those type of things on Google Classroom or in PowerSchool as that information goes up, but it's just not the same. I still end up getting a lot of emails, and so it would be nicer to just like handle all of that in one day, but instead the process is just like so stretched out. So that's definitely a bummer. It's just more on my end. It just takes me a lot more time to get students the information that they need and have a right to know. And then lastly, it is just a bummer to like not move. Like I am sitting in this chair most of the day. Like usually when I'm teaching, I'm standing pretty much the whole entire day and like walking around and talking to kids and just like, you know, I gotta walk kind of far down to the restroom and back. I can like walk down the hall to see one of my coworkers or whatever, but now it's just all in such a confined space. Oh, and you know, normally I would like go on a walk. I might go on a walk in like a minute. The skies are a little bit clearer today, but we've had all these wildfires, and so the air quality was really unhealthy, so they were not encouraging anybody to go outside. So we've not only been like quarantined because of the pandemic, we also can't go outside because of the air quality from the smoke from the wildfires. And then 2 nights ago, we had like the worst earthquake I've ever lived through. I've lived in California my whole life, and I've never felt an earthquake like that one. Our whole apartment was shaking so much. We ran outside in the middle of the night in our pajamas and just like waited out on the street basically in case there were any aftershocks, and then eventually you just have to go back in and just hope that everything is gonna be okay. So yeah, like every natural disaster just makes it difficult like on your mental health and then obviously on your physical health, because you can't be in a gym for one thing around here, like, or really outside exercising, and then yeah, so just like the lack of movement coupled with the pressure of just all of the plagues that we seem to be living through, yeah, I just don't like feel very healthy. I could do like a standing desk or something, but it's like the actual like walking around and moving that I miss. And for my students too, like I like those activities where students would get up and move and walk around and talk to different people and go like write on a poster board and then go find something else and do like a little scavenger hunt around the classroom, and then, you know, the bell would ring and they would walk across campus to their next class, and all the boys, you know, run down the hallway and try to like touch the top of the door frame, and kids are like bumping into each other and all of that. Like I actually miss all of that movement. I'm like shorter than most of my 8th grade students, so I'm like walking down the hall trying to get to the restroom like this, like excuse me. I actually miss all of that, like the physical chaos. I miss that a little bit. You know what I don't miss though? I'm just like remembering walking around my classroom. I don't miss tripping over everybody's giant backpacks, like stub my toe on their wheel of their backpack or whatever. So okay, at least I don't have to deal with that, but I do miss the movement in general. So anyways, let me know down below, what are 3 things that are going well for you, 3 things that you're struggling with. Some of these things, you know, there are answers to, or like things that we can kind of help each other out with. There's like a little hack for it, but some of it is just like we gotta wait it out. So that's kind of a bummer, but you know, with a lot of things, there's some kind of a silver lining, some kind of advantage even within the struggle. So maybe in the comments we can help each other find those things. All right guys, I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.